Chapter 1, Mishnah 6. The Mishnah continues discussing the Tuma status of foods with different levels of Tuma that were mixed together. If a piece of Sheni food the size of an egg and a piece of Shlishi food the size of an egg were mixed together, the mixture is treated as a Sheni. Since the Sheni food in this mixture is large enough to transmit Tuma on its own, the entire mixture is treated as a Sheni. If, after they were mixed together, he split the mixture into two separate pieces, each the size of an egg, this piece is treated as a shlishi, and this piece is treated as a shlishi. We assume that each piece is made up of sheni food mixed with shlishi food. Since neither piece has a full measure of sheni food, each is treated as a shlishi. Therefore, if this piece fell by itself onto a loaf of terumah and was removed, and then that piece fell by itself onto a loaf of terumah, they did not disqualify it. Since each of these pieces is treated as a shlishi, neither one can disqualify terumah by itself. However, if the two pieces fell onto a loaf of terumah together, and both are touching it at the same time, they make it a shlishi. Since the terumah is now touching a full measure of sheni food one at a time, it becomes a shlishi. To this point, we have discussed mixtures of tameh foods that are one level apart, either a rishon and sheni or a sheni and shlishi. The Mishnah will now discuss a mixture of tameh foods that are two levels apart. If a piece of rishon food the size of an egg and a piece of shlishi food the size of an egg were mixed together, the mixture is treated as a rishon. Since the mixture contains a full measure of rishon food, it is treated as a rishon. If, after the two foods were mixed together, he split the mixture into two separate pieces, each the size of an egg, this piece is treated as a sheni, and this piece is treated as a sheni, because even the shlishi that touched the rishon when they were mixed together become a sheni. Thus, all the food in the mixture is now either a rishon or a sheni. When the mixture is then split apart, we assume that each piece is made up of rishon food mixed with sheni food. Since neither piece has a full measure of rishon food, each is treated as a sheni. The largest mixture discussed until now was one the size of two eggs, one from each level of tuma. As a result, when the mixture is cut in half, we assume that each piece consists of less than the size of an egg of the higher level of tuma. The Mishnah now discusses a mixture that consists of two eggs from each level of tuma. If rishon food the size of two eggs and sheni food the size of two eggs were mixed together, the mixture is treated as a rishon. Since the mixture contains more than enough rishon food to transmit tuma on its own, it is treated as a rishon. If he then split the mixture into two separate pieces, each the size of two eggs, this piece is treated as a rishon and this piece is treated as a rishon. This is because we assume that each piece contains an egg-sized amount of rishon food. However, if he split them in 3 or 4 pieces, they are each treated as a sheni. Since there were only 2 eggs worth of rishon food and they were divided into 3 or 4 pieces, these pieces cannot each contain enough rishon food to transmit tuma as a rishon. Therefore, each piece is treated only as a sheni. A similar rule applies for a mixture of sheni and shlishi foods. If sheni food the size of 2 eggs and shlishi food the size of 2 eggs were mixed together, the mixture is treated as a sheni. Since the mixture contains more than enough sheni food to transmit tuma on its own, it is treated as a sheni. If he then split the mixture into 2 separate pieces, each the size of 2 eggs, this piece is treated as a sheni, and this piece is treated as a sheni. This is because we assume that each piece contains an egg-sized amount of sheni food. However, if he split the mixture into 3 or 4 pieces, they are each treated as a shlishi. Since they cannot each contain enough sheni food to transmit tuma as a sheni, they are each treated as a shlishi.